This is the internet. It's big and beautiful, full of information and memes and communities, even those shady bits over there.
We turn now to look at the fight for the future of the internet, to save net neutrality, to save the internet as we know it. Supporters of net neutrality say the rules are needed to keep the internet open and prevent corporate service providers from blocking access to websites, slowing down content, or providing paid fast lanes for internet service.
But net neutrality has come under attack by the Trump administration.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Satori D, and we got a special net neutrality discussion with you with John Ottman, the chairman and co-founder of Minds.com. How's it going, John?
Satori D, how are you? Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked, but I'm glad to have you on.
It has been a while, maybe like almost a year, but it's been very busy. It's great to be back.
Yeah, and actually, I've loved the direction Minds is going, and there's been a lot of cool and interesting stuff, so kudos to all the hard work you guys are doing with the Minds development team.
Well, thanks very much.
And then we also have, in the background, we have Fritz Koppel and Missy Nomer, but we're going to start off with the discussion with John, and maybe just give us a brief background, because I know you've been in the technology industry for a while, and then we'll get into net neutrality.
Okay, well, so I'm otherwise known as Bill Ottman's father, but I've been in the technology industry for a long time, over 30 years, and I've worked for a lot of big companies like Oracle and IBM, and I've also done a lot of startups along the way. And today, in addition to Minds, I'm executive chairman of a company on the West Coast called Solix Technologies, which is an enterprise data management, sort of enterprise software, big data company. And also chairman and co-founder with Bill, my son, of Minds. And got some great news, man. My other son, Jack, has just joined us as chief operating officer. So we actually have three Ottmans now in the business, which is super, super exciting. In addition to the rest of the team, notably Mark Hardy, our CTO, and Ian Crossan, our director of energy. So the team's growing, and we're so excited. We had a tremendous regulation crowdfund formal SEC investment raise in June, and we broke the world record for the fastest $1 million crowdfund raise. That's the most that you're able to raise by law. And we now have 1,800 roughly independent investors, people who jumped in and just bought shares of Minds. And now we still don't have the money. We're waiting, but very soon now we'll receive that money, and that's spectacularly exciting for Minds and the Minds community, because now we've really got some financial resources we've already started hiring a few more engineers to try to move the whole development process as fast as possible. We couldn't hire enough. And it's really exciting. We're in a great place, and it's all because the Minds community has grown very fast and really got behind the crowdfunding. I can't even thank people enough for the support that we got. We raised $1 million in 19 days, which is the world's record for Regulation CF crowdfunding, which is part of the Jobs Act that came in a few years ago, and it's a whole new opportunity for young companies to be able to achieve capitalization at the startup stage, and we really had a good experience with it. So thanks to everybody, and we're so excited right now. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to see that how the Minds community pulled together, and all the developments that we were slowly seeing, and I'm sure there's a lot of big stuff on the horizon. But let's get a little bit into net neutrality. If you could kind of briefly explain net neutrality.
Well, it's really got me upset and on the edge of my seat, because we went through a big battle a few years ago over net neutrality with Chairman Wheeler, and he came around, and driven by Obama administration pressure to make the right decision for a free internet, which was to install net neutrality rules, which make sure that the virtual oligopoly of ISPs are unable to dominate the free internet with IP blocking, slow lanes, data caps, peer-to-peer blocking, paid prioritization, whatever you want to call all the complicated technical tactics that have been used in the past and are a major threat to the free internet, particularly a young, disruptive, innovative startup like mine, because we can't afford to take on those types of costs. That's where big companies crush small companies and crowd out competition. And it's also the reason why a few years back, I think the 1980s and early 90s, Title II was implemented on what was called equal access, which meant that for the voice calls, the long distance market was deregulated. And what used to be just the AT&T monopoly, all of these other long distance companies, competition for long distance communications became fantastic. Prices came way down. And now we've got this very wide open long distance market that's so effective using what's called Title II, which meant that equal access had to happen over voice communications. And that's kind of the analogy of what it needs to happen here, is net neutrality provides equal access, fair access to the internet for everyone. And what's particularly made it a very big and difficult problem is that there's really about 4 companies that are in charge of the entire thing. And it's Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, and DirecTV. And I'm not the type of person to pull for government involvement in business at all. I don't really like government involvement in business. But in this case, you have an oligopoly that is controlling the entire infrastructure. And without net neutrality, they will take advantage. They've done it in the past. They will do it in the future. The current FCC chairman is the current corporate counsel of Verizon. There's more lobby money going into this from these big companies than anyone can imagine. Every senator and congressman is being tagged by this lobby, and they're going hard at it. And on July 12th, we had the day of action, and I read that 5.5 million people contacted Congress and the FCC, and it was the biggest response from any activist, internet activist movement ever. And the chairman of the FCC just didn't even pay attention to it. So that's very upsetting, and it goes under the drain the swamp sort of expectation that President Trump set. So a lot to talk about there, and it's not looking good for net neutrality right now. So net neutrality currently is the law, but it's not looking good, and it's, in my view, I think we're going to lose it unless we can mobilize more and more pressure. And the most important pressure is for people to get out that they care about this and let their congressional representatives know how they feel and prioritize this on how you vote, because a free internet is really important for everybody.
Yeah, I think the number of the comments is up to 10 million, and I heard too a little bit of suspicion on the FCC is that they didn't want to disclose documentation about all the comments, and there was supposedly some attack and they have no backup or anything about it. So mysteriously, these comments are kind of going under the radar.
No, the people are not being heard.
Yeah,
and that's this is America. This is America, and the people need to be heard, and they're contacted. Nobody's listening. It's concerning.
As you know about me, I have a lot of things that I'm interested in, and for me personally, the internet has been a place where I've been access to information, and not more than that, to express myself and express my voice. And the equal access is that I could broadcast, live stream stuff at HD level as any other corporation with my setup that I have right now. This bottom down innovation that I see all around the internet, like I've been able to just get into like different little groups, whether it's like involved in the community, investigate different stuff. And I think what's really important about the net neutrality in my perspective is that bottom up innovation. And it seems like with the major ISPs that it's kind of like what the old media was, is kind of controlled by like 5 different corporations, and they control the levers of how the information gets disseminated and who could broadcast this and that. This is kind of what they want to do by repealing these net neutrality and the Title II. I think for anybody who really wants to have their own voice, to get access to information, that this is something to really dig into and to really look and to speak out on. And it was a good first wave with the Day of Action. But the proponents have kind of been saying that net neutrality is a solution in search of no problem. But there's a little bit of a brief history of violations. For one of the ones that I just recently was researching was Comcast in 2005, which was the nation's largest ISP. They were blocking secretly peer-to-peer technologies to the customers of like BitTorrent. We didn't uncover this until 2007 when there was an investigation by the Electronic Frontier. And so like that's kind of the thing of setting in the net neutrality. This was 2 years after that people probably had their suspicions, but we actually didn't really know to the extent of how they were blocking certain things and how they were picking favorites and on the back end.
Well, as a customer for years now, I've experienced this firsthand. I'm a big downloader, or I used to be. I don't do it much anymore, but I had my account suspended 2 or 3 times. Came in and just said, "Hey, you're out. We're shutting you down because you downloaded too much or you used up too much bandwidth." There's no doubt that they're going to use this to just basically, they're going to be able to shut down who they want to shut down.
In the absence of rules preventing it, of course they will, because they have shareholders, and that's what the shareholders want to make money, and they're going to make more money. And so it will happen, and it has happened in the past. Satori just mentioned one example, but there's a lot of examples out there. And that's the type of anti-competitive pressure that a company like mine, we cannot take that on. I mean, Google, I remember one time Google Wallet got IP blocked. But Google can defend themselves. They are the biggest lawyers probably anybody. They can defend themselves. Apple can defend themselves. It's very difficult for companies like us to engage in a complex legal battle, and take on these types of problems.
John,
We'll stifle innovation because companies like us will just get snuffed out.
What about this big, where you look at all the negative propaganda against it, that there's money in it. Can you address some of the myths out there? This whole thing about, solve the problem of blocking and discrimination. It's going to take out the competition.
Yeah, there's very organized social media professionals that are out pushing the opposing point of view, and they're on minds for sure. You see a lot of their content, and one of their arguments, which is, I don't think they have a single good argument, because essentially they're trying to defend an oligopoly. That's a pretty tough thing to do. But essentially what they're saying is that net neutrality is government intrusion in free market, and a lot of libertarians in minds and people are saying, we don't want government. And so they're trying to take a pre-ride on the Ronald Reagan, get government out of everyone's life. But it overlooks the fact that if there are no limits and government completely pulls out and there is no net neutrality, that this oligopoly will take it over. I mean, that will happen. So that's why in the past, there's been plenty of examples of giant consent decrees that came from government, like when IBM was faced a consent decree where they couldn't sell all technology, could dominate. They had the mainframe that dominated everything, so they had a consent decree against them. AT&T is the same thing, had consent decree as I described earlier in the voice market in long distance. So there's plenty of precedent for government to come in and set some rules of freedom, and everybody has to follow it. And so what I see on the other side is sort of saying, oh, well, that's intrusion by government into a free market and it should never be tolerated. They're kind of pirating the argument unfairly.
Yeah. And later on, too, for everybody that's listening, I'll add a couple of references. And I want to have this shareable Google document that kind of like a living document, and to evolve this conversation where people could give references. I think what is really important is to go to sources that are experts and that you have confidence in. And for me, if I want something on technology, I have certain sites that I go to. These guys are kind of like the experts, and this is exactly why it was great to have you on here, John, because this is someone that I have respect for their opinion, and even that's why I kind of wanted to do a brief background of your history, been in the industry, and it's something that you've done professionally, but also to your, like what you said, strong opinions. So it's for everybody to try to help them to get to reliable information, which is part of this having a free and open internet. You got to be able to be how you do your research and go into certain sites for certain expertise. And I'll have a list out there and growing living document for that.
I mean, it's literally, if you look at Minds, what keeps us up at night? I mean, we're competing in a very tough market. There's companies like YouTube and Facebook and of course we think about those companies, but honestly, the internet is so big and the opportunity is so awesome. There's really no competition for us like that. The competition for us is something like net neutrality comes in, takes out the oxygen. That's a real threat. I think it's maybe the biggest threat to the success of independent networks, independent websites like us. Because the internet is big enough for everybody. Even if Facebook, I'm sure they'll get into China at some point soon, and their market will double. And so the internet marketplace is so big. The only thing that really competitively a company like mine needs to worry about is something like this.
John, could you confidently say that you never would have gotten Minds off the ground if this net neutrality didn't stay intact?
Well, I mean, look at the cable TV market, because that's what they did. Do you see public access channels succeeding on cable TV? I mean, no. You won't. And so that's the other model. And so if they could have the cable model here, they would. It's which model do you like? The track record of the open internet is so breathtaking in terms of how quickly it's evolved humanity. To think about putting toll booths on it and everything is just I think it's a horrible idea.
Yeah, and one of the things that I liked during the day of action was Reddit. If you went onto their site at that day, they had loading to kind of like give you an experience of what can happen if this gets rolled back. Yeah,
Reddit in its magnificent creation would never have been created in a market without net neutrality, or in a truly free market. And even the Wall Street Journal, I think it was this morning or yesterday, talked about additional pressures for the ISPs to be consolidated. And so right now you're looking at Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, DirecTV, they're actually merging. The momentum in that industry is consolidation. So what is currently an oligopoly is practically a duopoly, even a monopoly. And so you cannot put so much power in one set of hands over a free market. It's guaranteed to not be fair.
Yeah, we're in trouble. I don't like the direction that everything is moving in. It seems like at every turn, the giant entities are all banding together to take away our freedom. I don't see how anyone who is a proponent of free speech could support anti-net neutrality.
Right. If you believe in free speech, you have to believe in net neutrality because that's what's on the line.
The good example of this is kind of going back to what you were saying about the cable companies is what happened to the mainstream media. They're controlled by small amount of companies that control the old TV model, what you're talking about. And
right. So everybody's seen perhaps that one YouTube video. It's hilarious. It's the syndicated news video where they show 47 TV anchors tell the same story.
Yeah.
Using the exact same words. They obviously all got read from the single piece of paper that somebody gave them. And you don't see that on the internet. You see that on cable TV.
Well, I think this might be a good cause for us all to take up we've been kind of a little distracted lately, but I would love to get behind this. And I think this could be great for maybe a group focus and bring together on this issue, organize.
Yeah, I try not to get into the politics and the position that I'm in. It's very important for us at Minds to have an open platform. We're not trying to be left. We're not trying to be right. We're just trying to be free, and that's what we're trying to do. But in this case, we have to jump in with an opinion, because it is the single biggest threat to a free internet and to the goals of a network like Minds.com, for all the reasons that we've discussed. And it's horrifying to me that we went through this enormous battle only 2 years ago, and we won by a landslide. And then the Trump administration, despite a lot of sophistication in some areas, maybe some dysfunctional side in a lot of others, but on this one, it's unclear that the Trump administration understands what they're doing. And particularly, if it's driven by people from Breitbart, who's a company that will get crushed in a post-net neutrality world. So it's not even a rational strategy coming out of the White House, consistent with the positions that they've held on other things. And I remember President Trump once being confronted on encryption of the internet, and he says, "Well, let's get a smart guy to go. Let's call Bill Gates and ask him what to do." I'm not sure President Trump understands the internet. I understand that he understands Twitter. He's obviously written a book on that. But in terms of things like net neutrality, I wish he would take a look at this. I don't think if he understood it, he would be trying to eliminate net neutrality.
Well, unfortunately, there's been a lot of inconsistency, and I don't want to get political about this, but it does seem to be that at every turn, corporate interests invading the government. And they're basically, their goal is clear. It's to roll back all of our freedom. They don't have an interest in us being free. They want us to be their lackeys, their slaves. It's in their best interest. And unfortunately, they can manipulate the market to do that, especially with this.
Well, for me, I don't get too political on stuff, but I voice my opinion. But for me, a lot of different issues, you got to take it by case. And for me, what is important is to be able to have reliable resources and even seeing where your information is coming from. And for me, a lot of the proponents against net neutrality or rolling back, it seems to me, when I view it, my first instinct is this is a lot like when they were saying that smoking was healthy for you, that doctors were saying that smoking was good for you. It's very comparable. I was like, oh my God, this is no way that neutrality is in our best interest.
yeah, you don't want any government involvement in that market.
Yeah.
We're all back to Bernays again.
Yeah. So we're going on the 30 minutes, so we'll start wrapping things up. But I want to continue this conversation with the community. What I really like to do and what I'm really focusing on with the Infinite Imaginarium is working independently, collaboratively with each other. We all have our little strengths, and I love to do little video mashups. So later, if anybody's listening and they want to kind of give their 2 cents into this discussion, contact me, give me the audio. I'll mash it up into a little, what I like to do is these kind of songs type of things. And the video that I posted on mine. And we'll just see how this conversation goes. Like I said, I want to keep on building up that living document, which is an essential resource. I have a Google Doc with it. It's underneath this on the Minds comments. And I like to thank John for his time. We'll stay in touch and we'll see how this goes. But lastly, too, since we have you, is there anything you want to say to the Minds community, and or if there's something on the horizon that you're really excited about as far as Minds development?
Well, as I said in the beginning, all I can say is thank you to the Minds community, not only for coming and making accounts and participating and contributing in the way they have, but also so many of them turning into investors. So I can only say, number one, thank you to the community who's involved. It's so exciting for us, and we are really excited, and the energy just coming right to us, and so that's really, really awesome. In terms of looking ahead, we're rolling out monetization in a big way. We've been experimenting for like a year on peer-to-peer payment systems and things like this, and trying to essentially install the plumbing sort of level of this network. And we're settling down now, and we're rolling out some significant new services, all based on peer-to-peer payments. Like Minds Wire, which is the ability to tip people points, dollars, cash, or Bitcoin. We've implemented ad sharing for blogs. We just rolled out the affiliate program, which means that when you join the affiliate program, anyone who registers and creates a Minds account and uses your affiliate link, that person will receive 25% of all the points revenue that person spends on Minds. So it's a huge opportunity for big influencers on the site, big influencers in social media in general, or anyone, to help build the network and actually be paid. So we're trying to build monetization as a really, really significant differentiator. Bill's always said from day one, people should be rewarded for their efforts. So we are really heads down on it. Exclusive content is another big rollout that we're in the middle of. We have a new Boost console coming out. These are all very, very short-term sort of things. So that's our big focus right now, and we're getting great feedback on it. It's becoming very, very important in the marketplace to be able to have a free place where you can also be rewarded economically, and that's an important direction for us, and we're going to put a lot of energy into it.
Yeah, that's really great to hear, and it's important, I think, too. And this is what kind of has kept me so long, because I have had really good interactions with you and Bill, this whole momentum. Anybody else want to chime in before we let John go? Anything you want to say?
I'll say thank you, because I think I have a little bit more of an understanding. I was wondering why a lot of people were like anti-net neutrality. I didn't understand it. And I'm a little bit on the fence. Like I'm kind of like that's a little bit where I get enraged about it if I get too deep into it. I don't know how John keeps it an even keel. Like I don't know how he does it.
It definitely is the thing that gets me the most steamed up. I mean, I actually feel like if there was I never want to be on a soapbox or use Minds for my soapbox, but if ever there was a time, this just might be good.
Well, that's why I've been thinking, how are people so distracted? Because I've been like, this seems like such a big issue. So I'm glad that you did talk about that.
I appreciate that, John.
Yep.
Yeah, I really do. And also, it's going to going forward, it'll make things a lot easier. I got to say, you must be pretty damned excited. I know, I can see it, hear it in your voice. You're very excited about this. And it's a shame that, you had such a fantastic outing like this. Now you got the downer of the net neutrality issue hanging over your head like a sword.
There's more battles to come. I think at the FCC board level, we're toast. It just looks like this guy, Pi, is not listening to anybody, let alone 10 million people. Unprecedented response from the American voting public. But it still has to get to Congress level, and there's still a lot of fights. Yeah, we can keep fighting.
All right, we will. We will fight. I'm very concerned. And I think the internet's the greatest thing that ever happened, really. To have them come in and basically take it away. In essence, that's what they can do. They can create, make it just like cable TV, really. And I don't even turn the cable on anymore because I know it's all live.
Well, nobody does.
Yeah,
it's like it's cutting cords. How fast is it happening? And so the other side has a problem there. So, but anyway, appreciate the time, you guys.
Yes, thank you.
Very nice meeting you, John. Getting a chance.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.
The FCC has already received a record 5.6 million comments on net neutrality. A fight for the future. A fight for the future. of Fight for the Future. Action to save net neutrality. Begin with you. Talk about this nationwide action.
So this is a moment for everyone, whether you're an ordinary internet user with a few hundred Instagram fans or a major website with hundreds of thousands of daily visitors. Harness the power of the web. Harness the power of the web. Harness the power of the web to defend this profoundly democratizing technology that's given more of us a voice than ever before. We need to stop companies like Comcast and Verizon from being able to control what we can see and do online, and protect this platform for freedom of expression and social change. And protect this platform for freedom of expression and social change. And protect this platform for freedom of expression and social change.
The network is so vital to economic opportunity and innovation, especially to democracy. This is a tool of unparalleled power that can help us to build democracy. When you look at what has happened to mainstream media, radio, television, and cable, how it has been corporatized and commercialized and consolidated, how much journalism we have lost, you really get down to the essential question: is media providing the news and information that citizens need in order to make intelligent decisions for the future? A lot of evidence that that's really not happening right now. Net neutrality, however, is a free speech issue. At its center is the ability of Americans to go where they want on the internet, to access the content that they want, and to be treated like everybody else is treated. So you don't have Comcast and AT&T and Verizon acting as gatekeepers and having the power to slow down sites that they don't like, or to block, or to throttle, or to give fast lanes to a few while the rest of us struggle along on slow lanes. To be a fully participating citizen in 21st century America, you have to have access to high-speed, affordable broadband. And that's what's at issue now.
And protect this platform for freedom of expression and social change.